What's up, family? It's your girl Nick. How y'all doing tonight? So, wait a minute, we got a new producer in the room, y'all. You want to introduce yourself to the room?
Hi, I'm Kendra.
Hey, Miss Kendra.
Hello.
What's going on, girl? We a family up in here. Can you tell?
I can tell.
All right. Hey, Gabe.
Yo,
Little bro.
what's good with it?
No, everything's good. It was an interesting day. I got to do a fellow show today.
Yeah,
That was fun.
that's good.
It was
That's
different
good.
being on this side.
Yeah, yeah.
As opposed, well, that side as opposed to this side. Like I
Mhm.
always have to host, but I got to kind of relax and just talk and be me today.
Yeah, were you nervous at all?
Not really.
That's good.
I would see, aren't you proud of me? It's
I am.
working.
Growth.
Growth. Look at that. The
Look at that.
introvert is not scared to do the shows no more.
Look at that.
Look at Jesus.
Won't he do it?
Yes, he will. So y'all know we just came off of September, which was self-awareness month, self-care awareness month. Um, and it's just funny how things work. So as we're ending self-care awareness month, some interesting things happened between last week and this week. And so I was just like, So one of my friends posted the loss of their cousin, and we had just talked about like suicide prevention, suicide awareness, taking care of your mental, taking care of your physical, taking care of your emotional needs and all of that. And I don't know what happened to his cousin, but it sounds like it was along those topics that we just discussed.
Mm,
And then we had a death in the village.
mm.
So just keep my family in your prayers, the Goodman family. Um, you can never prepare when someone passes. Like even if you know it's coming, you just are never prepared. So just continue to lift our family up in prayer, especially my Houston cousins. Um, but it's just been a really crazy week, and what a way to end Self Care Awareness Month, because Saturday I had to take some time and just recharge because I just was not in a good space Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Yeah.
So, any takeaways from last week before we get into this new month?
My biggest takeaway from last week was just taking time to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Watching y'all do your chair exercises and everything like that.
That was kind of cool, wasn't it?
It was. It worked out. It worked out.
It
They don't
worked
know.
out.
They don't know what we went through, but
They don't, but it worked out.
It worked out. That's all that matters. So, but yeah, just taking the time to like reset and breathe and be in tune with you is crucially important.
It really is.
And I'm not gonna lie, I have not put it into practice yet. I've been moving and grooving it, doing all type of stuff. So like, haven't gotten a chance to put it into practice, but it is something I want to prioritize moving forward. So,
I mean, because we have to. Any self-care thoughts?
Put me on the spot a little bit. I forgot I was part of this conversation.
Yeah,
I was
you
just
were part of the
listening in.
convo today.
Okay. For me, self-care, not only breathing, but taking a little time.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's a little better to take time in the morning. Sometimes I have to do it after I eat, but I still do it.
No, that makes so much sense because one of my friends was like, "When do you find time? When do you find time?" And so when I do my devotional time, that's the time. Like after I do the devotional time, that's just my quiet time. Just kind of refocus for the day. Then I take my shower, I get in the car, and then when I get in the car, I pray before I leave because I want him to protect me when I'm going out and I'm coming in, right? But then that's that little extra moment where I get to be like, okay, let's focus the energy for the day. So you right, like in the morning, oh yeah. Now at night, don't let me have a hard day and I can have a glass of wine. 15 minutes by myself with some good music. Yeah. So, but what I want people to just remember is just take time, be more mindful to take time for yourself.
Absolutely.
All right. So now that we got the self care stuff out the way. So, October, there are a lot of things that are observed in the month of October. So the one I chose to focus on this month was ADD slash ADHD. And after this week, you will only hear me say ADHD because I needed people to understand um what ADD and ADHD are. So this is ADHD Awareness Month, the month of October. So this month we're going to focus on this condition. I don't want to call it a disease. This condition because it is very treatable. But I feel like in our community, we're seeing more kids in our community, especially diagnosed with ADHD. Um, we are now seeing more adults being diagnosed with ADHD. And I just feel like this is another topic that we need to start discussing because you don't know what you don't know. And if you have school age children, I want you to be able to be prepared to have the discussion um, with the people at school so you at least know what you're dealing with. So, we're going to talk about what is ADHD, what is ADD, um, is it the same thing? What are the similarities? What are the differences? How many types are there? And then the rest of the month we'll focus on ADHD in children, ADHD in adults, resources for ADHD, and different treatments um, and things that you can have. So after this break, we'll be right back and we're going to start talking about what is ADD and ADHD. See y'all in a minute.
She's into superstitions, black cats and voodoo dolls. I feel a premonition, that girl's gonna make me fall. She's into new sensations, new kicks in the candlelight. She's got a new addiction for every day and night. She'll make you take your clothes off and go dancing in the rain. She'll make you live a crazy life, or she'll take away your pain like a bullet to your brain. Upside, inside out, she's living la vida loca. She'll push and pull you down, living la vida loca. Her lips are devil red, and her skin's a color mocha. She will wear you out, living la vida loca. Living la vida loca. She's living la vida loca. Woke up in New York City in a funky cheap hotel. She took my heart and she took my money. She must have slipped me a sleeping pill. She never drinks the water, makes you order French champagne. Once you had a taste of her, you'll never be the same. It should make you go insane. Upside, inside out, living la vida loca. She'll push and pull you down, living la vida loca. Her lips are devil red, and her skin's a color mocha. She will wear you out, living la vida loca. Living la vida loca. She's living la vida loca. She'll make you take your clothes off and go dancing in the rain. She'll make you live a crazy life, or she'll take away your pain like a bullet to your brain. Come on! Upside, inside out, she'll be that loca. She'll push and pull you down. She'll be that loca. Her lips are temporary, her skin's a color mocha. She will wear you out. Living la vida loca. Living la vida loca. Living la vida loca.
Are you looking to change your financial picture? Let us help you secure your financial house. Call us today for your appointment at 214-533-5307. That's 214-533-5307. Or email us at divinelegacyfinancial@gmail.com. We look forward to helping you reach your financial goals. We secure financial homes one family at a time.
All right, folks, what's up? What's up? And we're back. So, what is ADD and what is ADHD? Anyone want to venture a guess?
I know ADD stands for attention deficit disorder.
Yes.
ADHD is, I don't know. Attention. Okay, go for it.
Attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
Yes.
See, we know a little bit.
So, just for FYI, the reason I said going forward, we would just be saying ADHD is because they no longer use the term ADD. So ADD is attention deficit disorder, and it is an outdated term because they consider it a type of ADHD. So ADHD, well, with ADD, you typically have a challenge when it comes to focusing and following instructions, but you don't have the hyperactive. I can't even talk tonight. See, you don't have the hyperactivity or the impulsiveness. So why they now only say ADHD is because with ADHD you can have the hyperactivity and the impulse, but you can also have the non-hyperactivity, or you can have a combination of both. So ADHD would include inattention, so you can't really focus, but you also have the excessive movement that happens with hyperactivity. And then you also have the impulsivity. So like you act hastily in the moment, you give no thought to your actions. So now everybody has ADHD. Ain't that crazy?
It is crazy.
And so the other thing to know is they categorize ADHD now as a brain-based disorder. So you'll see a lot of information on like psychologist sites, psychiatrist sites, because it is considered a brain disorder. So the symptoms for ADHD, broad symptoms: inattention. So like disorganization, you can't stay on task, you constantly daydream, you can't pay attention for anything, especially when you're being talked to directly. Impulsivity is like spur of the moment. Like everything is done without you thinking about it. And there's a big and great chance of harm or long-term effects. This person acts very quickly. It's very centered around immediate gratification. This person interrupts everybody, family, friends, authority figures, teachers, everything. Hyperactivity is just, you can't sit still. And for me, just kind of getting prepared for this month, understanding the difference between impulsive and hyperactive, I always thought it was the same thing because I equate hyperactivity, like if you can't sit down, to me, you have no impulse control. But I never realized it was two separate things. So, and the constant movement always happens even when it's not appropriate. Any takeaways just on that part?
Yeah, so it's interesting because like a lot of times, like you said, that impulsive behavior does kind of get written off. Like this is like, okay, yeah, I just got a lot going on. Or
Right.
it does, and it's probably, it could be more than that. You know, I feel like I personally, I don't have an issue with impulsiveness necessarily. But I do notice my attention shifts a lot.
Yes.
And maybe that's because I got a lot of things going on, a lot of things I need to tap into, but I do have a hard time focusing that time. So I'm wondering, like, you got me thinking over here.
So with me, I think I lean more toward the inattentive because there are moments where I just space out.
Same.
And it doesn't happen all the time. Like somebody can be talking to me and I hear you saying it, but there are moments where I'm just like, okay, what? Like I got to bring myself back into the conversation. And it's not that I'm like really daydreaming, but my mind starts wandering on everything else. So I'm wondering if that's what, like previously when the doctor told me I had it, I'm wondering if that's what it was. But then when the other doctor said I don't have it, now I'm thinking, well, was that doctor concerned with the hyperactivity and the impulse? Because I don't have that piece, but I really do think I have probably a mild form of the inattentive piece.
I can see that.
So for me, I definitely have the inattentive piece, and I have been diagnosed with it. Before it was HD, when it was still ADHD.
Oh.
And so I had my own bout with trying to, what pills are right, which pills are wrong.
Oh, wow.
But at the same time, I ended up having to learn how to focus a little better. And I even notice now, sometimes somebody will start talking and I'm already thinking about something else. So I have to finish this thought. And then I have to interrupt you when I'm done with the thought.
Gotcha.
So that, okay, I wasn't processing. Can you repeat that again? I wasn't fully attentive yet.
What age were you diagnosed?
Teenage years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when they diagnosed you, did they actually do tests to diagnose you, or was it all based on like observations from your teachers and stuff?
It was a questionnaire with a psychologist or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Back in the day.
See, we're gonna touch on that too, because again, I think and this is why I'm a little wary of how many people are being diagnosed now, because I feel like there are just moments that you just slip into inattentiveness. And I don't think that it's necessarily you have ADHD, but if that's very frequent, it could be. Do you see what I'm saying? Like when my godson was going through his testing and observations and stuff, I felt like they were just trying to push a diagnosis, because I felt that he was so young. And to me, some stuff is boys being boys. Like as you grow up, you learn to be a little bit more disciplined. You learn the boundaries, you learn. And so I was a little offended because they just said it's ADHD. Like, in my mind, there are certain things little boys and kids do. Like, and it's not that they're defiant, it's not that they can't pay attention. They just have so much energy at those younger ages. And I just feel like sometimes people use ADHD as, oh, well, let's just medicate kids and sit them down.
And that was really popular during my age range too, of just teachers being able to diagnose and say, oh, you should have your kid tested for this. I remember I was in a class in third grade. I don't know why I can still remember this to this day, but I had my third grade teacher. She tried to tell me that I had dyslexia. But mind you, there was no facts to back that up. And I was helping the dyslexic girl in class. I was helping her read the stuff that was on her paper. So how am I dyslexic if I'm helping her? And then my mom had a fit. It was a whole thing. It was a mess. But
Wow.
yeah. And it was because she didn't know how to teach me. Like, I wasn't entertained in school.
Exactly.
I was bored. I've always been a creative kid.
Yes.
So like I needed that. I learned differently. It wasn't that I had a disability.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
And
it's
so-
very common.
Well, and I think it's very common too, because I'm like, you know, the things that my godson was going through, I really wholeheartedly believe some of that was teacher. It wasn't all him. And I really feel like that teacher was not equipped to handle a rambunctious little boy. And so things were basically, if we push him as ADHD, we can get rid of him, or we can medicate him, or, you know. So I was very, like I said, I was very offended. But then I started doing research and stuff, and I could see how they came up with it. And he did, you know, get some diagnosis from a actual, you know, professional health, you know, a medical professional. But I just, for me, it was how quickly you just diagnosed it, and you ain't even the medical professional.
Yeah.
But again, this is one of those topics where I think in our community, we just need to be a little bit more prepared to talk about, like, what is it? How do we deal with it? What are the things we can be looking for? Because there are certain signs, there are things that we can look for and kind of recognize it before it gets to that point. So we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we'll get into the types of ADHD and how you can recognize them. Peace.
Tonight, I just want to take you to be the same. Let's set this party alright. Players, girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. Here's a toast so clear. Look out! Pop up, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, they don't know downtown. I bet they know as soon as we walk in. Showed up wearing Cuban links, designer mix, Inglewood's finest shoes. Don't look too hard, might hurt yourself. Known to get the color red, the blue. Shit. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up the rocket. Keep up. Why you mad? Fix your face. Ain't my fault they all be jacking. Keep up. Players only. Come on. Put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. Here's a toast so clear. Look out. Second verse for the hustlers. hustlers, gangsters, bad bitches, and your ugly ass friends. I cannot preach, I cannot preach. I gotta show them how I can get it in. First, take your shit, do your dip, spend your money like money ain't shit. Ooh, ooh, we too fresh. Got to blame it on Jesus. Hashtag, they ain't ready for me. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up the rocket. Keep up. Why you mad? Fix your face. Ain't my fault they all be jocking. Keep up. Players only. Come on, put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? What you trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. It's so clear. Look out. Everywhere I go, they be like, oh, so bad. Everywhere I go, they be like, oh, so bad. Everywhere I go, they be like, oh, so bad. Now, watch me break it down like 24 karat. What's that sound? Come on now. 24 karat. 24 karat magic. Don't fight the feeling, invite the feeling. Just put your rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? Tell me what you're trying to do. 24 karat magic in the air. It's so clear. Put your rings up to the moon. What y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. It's so clear. Look out.
Are you looking to change your financial picture? Let us help you secure your financial house. Call us today for your appointment at 214-533-5307. That's 214-533-5307. Or email us at divinelegacyfinancial@gmail.com. We look forward to helping you reach your financial goals. We secure financial homes one family at a time.
What's up, guys? And we're back. So, ADHD. How many different kinds do you think we have?
At least 30.
Yes, you would be right. So we have inattentive type, hyperactive impulsive type, and then combined type. So we're going to start with the basic one, which is what I think most people have a touch of. So ADHD, inattentive type, the person is not hyperactive at all. There is no presence of the high energy levels, and they're just basically in their own world.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yep. So here's the thing. If you 16 or under, they will diagnose you with this if you have 6 or more of the following symptoms. If you're an older teen, it's 5 or more. So here are some of the symptoms. You have trouble paying attention because you're easily sidetracked. You don't like or you avoid long mental tasks. So you avoid homework and assignments like the plague. You have trouble staying on task at school, at home, or even when you're just out having fun. You just can't do it. You're disorganized and you seem forgetful. You don't appear to listen when directly spoken to. You don't pay close attention to the details. You lose things often. You make careless mistakes, and you struggle to follow through with instructions. I'm going to say I probably have about 4 or 5 of these.
Yeah, me too. For sure.
I'm going to say that. I got you.
That's
I
part
got
of me
you.
when it's like I'm still taking notes on what you already said, so I'm a little behind.
No, I got you because I'm a note taker too. But then
I'm not listening to what you continue to say. I'm not ready for the question.
but see, I think that's all of us at some in some way, shape, or form, because when you're really intently listening to something, you're trying not to miss it. And so I'm one of those people, like if I'm engaged in a discussion with you, don't be surprised if you see me taking notes, because I'm one of those that I want to hear what you're saying before I respond. So I might jot something down, and I do that at work too. Like as people are talking, I'm just jotting things down. And I do know that people are offended by that sometimes. But for me, it's I just want to make sure I'm catching everything you're saying. But yeah, so I believe most people have some form of this inattentive type. So remember, 16 and under, with any of these types, if you are 16 and under, they're looking for 6 or more symptoms to diagnose you. If you are an older teen or adult, they are looking for 5 or more of these symptoms. So that's inattentive type. Um,
Yeah, I definitely have a few of those. I didn't quite get which ones were different. So
I got
I
you.
wrote like a whole bunch of things down. I was like, I know a lot of those
Okay.
things, but not everything.
So I will get your email address and I will make sure that you get this list.
Absolutely.
Because again, I got to write it down too. So the hyperactive impulsive type. Y'all ready for this one? This person has tons of energy, constantly moving in a way that causes problems. So think of the fidgeting and stuff as being disruptive. So they're going to blurt out answers before a question is finished. They are constantly interrupting others. They have trouble waiting for their turn. They talk a lot. They do a lot of fidgeting, a lot of tapping, a lot of squirming. They get up when it's not appropriate, such as when the teacher is talking or in the middle of dinner, because they just can't sit down. They are running all the time, climbing in inappropriate situations. They cannot play by themselves in a quiet manner, and they are always on the go, which is why I thought hyperactivity and impulsive were the same. And notice that it says hyperactivity and impulsive type. They didn't break them up. So,
I can see why you would get that confusing because they didn't break it up.
And so in my mind, to me, they go hand in hand.
I believe
But
so too.
okay. What I'm not a doctor, so I don't get paid. And let me put that disclaimer out here. I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. Um, but this is just useful information for you to have just in case you need to have some discussion around ADHD. The final type is the ADHD combined type, which basically means that the person has a little bit of all of this. They probably are going to be inattentive and hyperactive and impulsive. So, 3 types: inattentive type, hyperactive impulsive type, and combined type. Now, I know one of y'all probably thought, like I did, well, heck, combined type, that fit everybody. Because at what point there has to be a point where some of this touches all of us. But I think what they're trying to get us to understand is, for someone who is diagnosed or should or might need to be diagnosed as ADHD, we have to see with these symptoms, are these symptoms happening all the time? Like, how often do we notice these symptoms are occurring? And what I would tell you guys is talk to your medical professional. People who can diagnose this condition, because again, it is considered um, a brain disorder. And so when you say a brain disorder, you would think psychologist, psychiatrist, neurologist, something like that. So people, your first line of defense would be like a pediatrician, a psychiatrist, a child psychologist, because most of the time this diagnosis comes when people are of childhood years. Um, we are seeing more diagnoses for adults, but I think that's because people are now really understanding or trying to understand what this condition is. You also have to be careful because there are conditions that could mimic ADHD. So, behaviors like if you have a major life change, like a divorce, a death in the family, a recent move, some of this behavior could be just because you're scattered and you're trying to, reconnect with your new normals. You could have undetected seizures that make you kind of impulsive. You could have thyroid problems. You could have sleep problems. You can have anxiety, depression, or even lead toxicity. So don't self diagnose. You don't want to self diagnose. You want to go to a medical professional and get these things kind of looked at. What I would suggest is if you see that your child or you or a loved one is exhibiting some of these symptoms in a regular manner, like all the time, and it's becoming consistent, then I would have the conversation with your doctor so you could be put on the right path. What do you think, Gabe?
Yeah, so it's two of us over here. I'm trying to, try to get the flow.
I know.
Anyway,
I be talking to both of y'all. So.
I think the first, remind me the three names again.
It is inattentive type,
Inattentive. Okay.
hyperactivity / impulsive type,
Okay.
and then combined type.
Okay. So for me, I definitely lean out of the three that you listed. I lean more inattentive.
Okay.
I've never been the hyperactive type. I've never had that type of thing. I've seen that, so I know what that looks like.
Right.
And yeah, I've never experienced that, but I'm definitely the inattentive type. I feel like I need to go get tested tomorrow.
Well, I will send you the link and you can test yourself.
Yeah.
And depending on the questions that they asked you in the link, if you feel comfortable, then we need to go to the doctor.
Yeah, because I'm interested to know. I definitely want to take that test just because I'm interested to know, because I don't know if people perceive me that way, but I could tell even just like in how I think and how I process things sometimes, like I'm very, I don't even want to say scatterbrained because that's not
it's not it.
That's not it. But it's just like, it's hard for me to focus sometimes. It's hard for me to like pay attention when people talking because my brain is in 1,000 different directions.
Yes.
And I feel like that's something that happens a lot with creative people. I feel like personality type plays a large role in some of these, how some of these things come across. So, yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to know.
Okay. I'll make sure I get that test to you after we log out. Okay. Your thoughts? Look, your thoughts.
My thoughts are, it's good to know that there are things that mimic it, because there are some other things that, like, okay, that might be an issue. So I do have some of these issues, and I'm like, I wonder if that's part of it, or if it's all of it, or
it could.
I mean, not all of those things, but like multiple things on here, and then also I want to say ADD, but inattentive ADHD.
Right. Well, see, and that's the thing. Like, as I started preparing for tonight and this month, I was just blown away with number one. It just blew me away that you could have one or both, or like it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be a combination. Like, I never even let that enter my realm of thought. I thought either it's just ADHD and you got what you got. Like I wasn't really understanding that there are levels. And I wasn't really understanding that, like you just said, there are things that could mimic. Because now that I think about that piece, if you're really stressed out, not getting any sleep, it's easy for you to be inattentive. If you've got lead poisoning, you're probably gonna be a little inattentive. You're probably gonna be all over the place, because if I'm not mistaken, lead poisoning and lead toxicity, you could have a lot of impulse control issues based on the amount of lead that you know has entered your body. And then with the thyroid issue, when your thyroid is out of whack, everything is out of whack. So, but then I had to think about, you can have a slow thyroid or a fast thyroid issue. So, it really kind of put in perspective to me that, going back to what we were talking about mental health and self-care, and when we were talking about earlier this year, when we talked about health and wellness, your body can be thrown off by anything. So if you're not really hitting on all cylinders, you're not getting enough rest, you're not eating properly, you're stressed out all the time, anything could show up as ADHD if you're not paying attention to, like, how often you're acting this way. Is it consistent active? Is it, so again, just wanted people to kind of, as we start talking about this month, kind of frame it by understanding that there are three different types. That you can be inattentive, you can be hyperactive, impulsive, or you can have a combination. But we just want you to be prepared to understand what the condition is. Again, I'm never going to call it a disease, because it is a condition, and it impacts the way your brain is processing things differently, which is why they say it's brain related. So that's all we have for today. So we'll see you guys same ADHD time and same ADHD place next week, as we talk about ADD. Oh, ADD. See, here I go. ADHD in children. So we'll see y'all next week. Peace out, y'all.